The NFL has leaked its script. To me, specifically. No, I'm kidding. But today, I'm going to be predicting the 2025-2026 NFL season. And it's going to be a banger. So let's start off here. Let's not get hasty. Let's just jump right on into it. Let's start with the NFC North. So I have these tiered up in tiers right here, as you can tell. And I'm going to be on the far left will be the top of the division, and as we work our way right, we'll work our way to the bottom of the division. And I even have our playoff teams mapped out, and then I'll be going over end of the season awards as well as MVP and predicting the Super Bowl matchup and the Super Bowl championship. With all that being said, at the end of the season, I'll have a end season reaction where I react to this video. Hello, future Graham. And I will be excited to see how stupid I look. Yeah. So let's just jump right on into it and say less. So, NFC North. I'm going to start from the bottom of the division and work my way to the top of the division on all of these. So, at the bottom of the NFC North, I have the Chicago Bears. Now, the Chicago Bears, they did have a couple of great improvements this past offseason, especially with Luther Burden, man. I wanted Luther Burden so bad from thought that we were going to get him. Sadly, the Chicago Bears got him. Now, he has been dealing with a little bit of injury in the OTAs and offseason processes so far, but I think that he's going to be great for the Chicago Bears, and I think that the Bears are going to be okay this year. I think they'll have a better record than last year, but this is a really competitive division. I mean, the NFC North, one of the most competitive divisions in football. Not the most competitive division, because we'll get to that one later, but it is definitely one of the most competitive. Bears, you filter yourself out to the bottom. Next, I've got the Minnesota Vikings going third. Minnesota Vikings, they kind of made a switch up. They went from Sam Darnold to J.J. McCarthy. I still think that this team is going to get close to making the playoffs. I still have them getting 10 wins this season. Just a little bit of an off production year, and I'll probably be wrong. I mean, we'll just see. Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison always create havoc for the Vikings. I mean, not Justin Jefferson, but J.J. McCarthy. I mean, come on, man. He's probably going to be really, really good for the Vikings. I think he's going to have a good season. It's just not going to be a 14-win season for the Vikings. I think they win 10, 11 games. Even if they do win 11 games, I still think they miss the playoffs. Next, we got the Green Bay Packers. Green Bay Packers, yes, they did just release Jair Alexander, but they played most of the last 2 seasons without him. Combined for the last 2 seasons, Jair Alexander only played a total of 14 games for the Green Bay Packers, and it was 7 each season. So, I mean, if you look at the numbers, with and without Jair Alexander, they still had a really good defense, and that's what got them to the playoffs. So, Jordan Love, I mean, yeah, I think you're going to the playoffs, but you're definitely not the Detroit Lions. Now, hold on. Now, the Detroit Lions, what is going on? Now, the Detroit Lions, I've got winning this division. The Detroit Lions, obviously, are probably going to be a 14, 15-win team. I still think that they're at the top of this division. And, yeah, I ace this division. So, let's move on to the AFC North. Enough said. Enough said. AFC North, you got another really tough division. It seems like you got competitive divisions, and then you got the South. I'm just playing. Anyways, so AFC North. At the bottom of this division, I have the Cleveland Browns. Now, do I think that based off their quarterback situation, they could possibly muster a playoff spot? Absolutely, especially because the Steelers have no idea what in the world they're doing over there in Pennsylvania. And I just, kind of think that the Browns are just in a spot where they're just going to be the bottom of the division for a while. You got 3 teams that have been making the playoffs or are competitive enough to make the playoffs as long as the Bengals defense get together. But, I mean, the Browns, you're probably looking at Shedeur Sanders being your starter this year, and we'll just see what happens on the get-go. But Browns starting off at the bottom. Next, I got the Cincinnati Bengals. Cincinnati Bengals, your defense is horrible. Your defense sucks. And I think that Future Graham can agree with me. Your defense was dog water. Bottom of the NFL. With that being said, the Cincinnati Bengals do have one of the best offenses in the NFL, and they're going to wreak havoc. Jamar Chase is probably going to put up another nuclear year. Who knows? He might win Offensive Player of the Year. Who knows? I mean, that's just a kind of thrown out there. That's not my actual pick for Offensive Player, or maybe it is. I don't know. No, it's not. But we'll get to that later. Next, this is a tough decision, guys. Really tough decision. I got the Steelers. I've got the Pittsburgh Steelers going third second in the division. Pittsburgh Steelers. I do like where they're at, basically, with their quarterback room. I do like Will Howard. Will Howard is an amazing quarterback. I think that he could become a starter in the NFL. Then you got Mason Rudolph, who has been a starter in the NFL before. We'll just see what happens with Mason Rudolph. But you obviously have the starter for this year in Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers will be fantastic, I think, for the Steelers. He's got more of the coaching staff around him. He's got DK Metcalf, for goodness sakes. So, I mean, we'll just see. I think the Steelers are going to ball out this year. Still only get 10 wins and get knocked out in the first round of the wild card, but whatever. And then, of course, you got the Baltimore Ravens. They're Super Bowl contenders this year as well. The Baltimore Ravens are not going anywhere unless Derrick Henry were to break his leg. Okay? The only way that Baltimore does not win this division is if their defense declines a lot to where they have to put up a lot more points every game. They can't run the football with either Lamar Jackson or Derrick Henry. That is the only way that they don't win this division. I think for the Baltimore Ravens, this is the year where it seems like it's uncertainty after the Baltimore Ravens, because all these other teams, you really don't know what's going to happen. You look at the Cleveland Browns, for instance. They don't know what their quarterback's doing. The Bengals, they don't have a clue what's going on defense, and they can't figure out how to sign both of their edge rushers. Then you get the Steelers. They can't sign T.J. Watt, but they have a decent quarterback room now with Aaron Rodgers. And then, iffy receiving core now that George Pickens is gone and DK Metcalf is in. And then you got the Baltimore Ravens, like I was just saying. Cakewalk. Anyways, then we have the NFC East. Now, this one can get a touch controversial at times because it's such a competitive division. At the bottom, it's not a surprise to anybody, I got the Cowboys. Now, the Cowboys could easily come out and be a playoff team. They have the talent. It just depends on Schottenheimer. I think that's his name, the coach. Will the coaching staff actually be able to flourish under Jerry Jones? Jerry Jones has been a big problem for this organization for years, ever since they won their last Super Bowl, and they haven't made it back, even though they have all the talent in the world. But I think that's really not the players' faults. It could be, but it's really Jerry Jones' fault, not extending players when they need to be, players getting held out, not getting the playbook as soon, just yada yada yada. And then they're still not signing Micah Parsons right now, but at the moment, like in years past, I would have put them easily second in the division every single year. This year, they're going bottom because I think the New York Giants are going to be better than the Dallas Cowboys. And the New York Giants have made a lot of interesting decisions this year, and actually, surprise, surprise to many of you, I actually have them making the playoffs this year. The New York Giants, under Jackson Dart, I think will at least get 10 or 11 wins and make the playoffs. I think Jackson Dart is going to be fantastic. I mean, just ask Future Graham if I'm correct on that. I hope that's a yes. Anyways, next we have the Commanders at number 2. I think that Jaden Daniels will have at least close to the same year he did last year. He'll probably be in the MVP race again, with the addition that they are going to make in re-signing Terry McLaurin. Hopefully they re-sign him and they don't trade him. Granted, I'm making this video in June, so, training camp and all that stuff hasn't happened yet, and injuries have not been taken into accounting. Philadelphia Eagles win this division once again, as long as Saquon Barkley doesn't get the Madden curse and he's fully healthy and that Eagles O-line keeps on running over defenses, they're not going anywhere. Let me just tell you, first one to tell you, Eagles win the NFC East. Next, the AFC East. Now this can get kind of tricky. I have the Pats at the bottom. What the turd. I have the Patriots at the bottom of the division. Now the reason I have the Patriots at the bottom of the division, Mike Vrabel, I think that he's going to be great for this organization. But I still think that there's a lot of missing pieces this year to fully depend on, Drake May to get them places. I still think they're going to get maybe 6 wins. Maybe 6 wins. The Patriots, Stephon Diggs didn't really play last year, and if you look at some of their training videos, they've been dropping a lot of passes. However, that was probably just like 2 random reps on a random Tuesday, and there was the only 2 passes dropped during practice. But we got to take into accountability on what we can see. So, Patriots, sorry, you're going to the bottom of the division. Next, I have the Miami Dolphins. Now, what the heck just happened? Apparently, the Miami Dolphins are now in the NFC North. No, I'm kidding. All right, Miami Dolphins are going third in the division. The Miami Dolphins, as long as they can stay healthy, I could see them winning the division. I guess that's a bold statement, but I see them, they could possibly win this division if they just stayed healthy and they had a good run game. Other than that, they needed to get Tyreek Hill the ball a lot more. Who knows what's going on with Tyreek Hill. And Tua he's a great quarterback. He can definitely man this offense. We've seen that as long as Tua stays healthy. The thing with the Miami Dolphins, they're good as long as they can stay healthy, but I have them third in this division. And second, I have the New York Jets. Now, the New York Jets, this might come as a surprise to some of you, because I was just hyping up the Miami Dolphins, but the New York Jets actually, I feel like, have a better outlook on things than last year because I think they have a more competent quarterback. You heard that right. Justin Fields, I feel like, will flourish at the Jets, even though there hasn't been a quarterback that flourished with the Jets, ever. But if you look at it, Ryan Fitzpatrick was really the last one that actually did something great with the New York Jets. I think he played for the Jets. I think so. Anyways, the New York Jets, I feel like, are going to have a great season this year under Justin Fields, and we'll just see. Really, I'm just basing that off of Justin Fields, and their defense is still pretty much primarily intact. I think, and they got an easy schedule. I think they'll be able to do it, but they don't have as easy as a schedule as the Buffalo Bills. I think this is kind of stupid. The Buffalo Bills might literally go undefeated this year. They are the first team in NFL history when their schedule is all lined out to be favored in every single game. Literally every single one. That's how much of a cakewalk their schedule is going to be this year. I think they win. I personally think they lose 1 game to Kansas City, and I think that they probably get the 1 seed. If they don't do that, then Buffalo, you've got an issue. You have such an easy freaking schedule. And if you look at the Chiefs' schedule, which we'll talk about that later, they got one of the toughest schedules for the first 7 or 8 weeks of the season than anyone else in NFL history. Okay, so that's the AFC East. I think I got it right. I don't think.
I know I got it right.
But with that being said, let's move on to the NFC South. Now, the NFC South is a tricky division. I have the Saints going bottom. At the current moment, you have nobody. Derek Carr just retired because of his shoulder injury. And you have literally no one at quarterback. Literally no one. So we'll just see how that pans out for the Saints, because at the moment, they have practically nobody. Practically nobody. All right, next we got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding, guys. Get them out of here. I've got the Falcons. The Falcons are going to be third in this division. The reason they're going to be third in this division is just because Michael Penix is going to, he's going to put up respectable numbers as long as they don't trade Kyle Pitts. Now, if they trade Kyle Pitts, they're probably going to be bottom of the division just because Kyle Pitts can be such a versatile weapon on offense. Falcons, third. That's what I'm basing it off of. Their defense, going to be probably mid at best. Next, I've got the Carolina Panthers. Now, the Carolina Panthers, I feel like will muster 10 wins this season. Yeah. Yeah, I think the Panthers will muster 10 wins this season. You heard it right. And I think Bryce Young is going to be pretty good. Ted McMillan's probably going to be really, really, really good as long as he doesn't get injured, which he is dealing with some injury right now in OTAs and minicamp. So we'll just see how that pans out, I guess. But at the top of the division, no surprise, you got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. As long as Baker Mayfield doesn't break his leg and Mike Evans and Chris Godwin stay healthy, this team is pretty freaking solid. I mean, you look at their defense. Their defense has been really good. I mean, they had a top 10 defense last year, I believe, and they had a top 10 offense, actually. They had a top 6 offense. I think they were like 5th. So, Tampa Bay, probably not going anywhere. I think they're going to win 11 games. 11 games, make the playoffs. All right, AFC South. This, like I said, these two divisions are not the greatest. NFC South, I got to flip the page here. Okay, so for the AFC South, I have the Titans going bottom. I could see Cam Ward having a good season. I could. But if I know the Titans roster, there's dog water. If Cam Ward somehow willingly leads the Titans to a playoff berth, I will give away $50. I am dead serious. I'll give away $50. If the Titans somehow get into the playoffs, I will give away $50 because there's no way that this team made of Cam Ward, Calvin Ridley, and Tony Pollard, I mean, when you put it that way, it seems okay, they're not going to win this division. They're not winning this division. I see them getting second, maybe in the division, but they're, in my prediction, they're getting the bottom of the division. Just simply because you don't throw a rookie quarterback into a system where nothing's good. Nothing. I mean, they addressed O-line in the draft, so we'll see how that works. Up next for the South, I've got the Indianapolis Colts. Indianapolis Colts at the moment, apparently they're rolling in because Anthony Richardson has been kind of injured, and it looks like Daniel Jones is actually apparently, hold on, impressing at minicamp. I don't know how that is even feasible. You would think that these teams would learn. Hold on, I'm going to redo that. You would think that these teams would learn not to trust Daniel Jones in this situation, but apparently nobody listens to me. Or the Giants, for that matter, because the Giants cut him after paying him the big bucks. With that being said, the Colts, they just haven't been healthy. Jonathan Taylor hasn't been able to replicate his fantastic rushing season in 2021. Third in the division. Next, I have the Jacksonville Jaguars going second in this division. I do truly think that if Travis Hunter puts up nuclear numbers on both sides of the ball, they could easily win this division and make Trevor Lawrence look fantastic. But Trevor Lawrence would have to be truly a bomb squad player for this to happen. I mean, the Jags. Yeah, the Jags. All right, next, winning the division. No-brainer here. The Texans. The Texans have won this division the last 2 years in a row, and I see them winning it again this year as long as the Jags don't be, like, insanely awesome with Travis Hunter. You know, the Texans, they've kind of gone a little bit on a slump, but they did just re-sign Nick Chubb, so I'm kind of excited to see how that pans out for him. But that's how I have this division. Up next, the NFC West. We're finally getting into some gooder. We're finally getting into some other divisions here with the West. At the bottom of the West. Now, this might be surprising. I'm kidding. It's not surprising. I got the Cardinals. Marvin Harrison Jr. didn't pan out as well as most people would have hoped. I still think he was a solid or really good rookie receiver last year. Xavier Worthy put up almost the same numbers as him through the air, and Xavier Worthy got a lot of upside because he had a lot of rushing yards too and a lot of rushing touchdowns. So the Cardinals, I mean, I don't know, man. Kyler Murray could easily put up a couple of wins by himself. Uh, the Cardinals are a team where halfway through the season you'll be like, oh, they might be playoff contenders, and then they're gonna go and die. Yeah, just like that. So the Cardinals, bottom of the division. Next, I have the 49ers. The 49ers lost too many pieces. They lost too many pieces on defense, and Christian McCaffrey's probably not going to be the same after his tendonitis in both legs. Yeah, you know that's true, future Graham. Christian McCaffrey's not going to be the same as he was. Then, next, you have the Seattle Seahawks. I think the Seahawks come in second here, and I actually think the Seahawks missed the playoffs. Got you there. The Seahawks are probably going to muster 9 wins. You know, you got Sam Darnold, you got Cooper Kupp, you got JSN. You could easily see them win this division, but I have the Rams winning this division. The reason I have the Rams winning this division, because they've won the division the last so many years, and it's been fantastic. Other than the 49ers, they've been the only other division champs for the last, 8 years or something like that. And they've made it to a Super Bowl not that long ago with almost the same roster as they have now. I say that because they still have Matthew Stafford. They got rid of Cooper Kupp. Aaron Donald retired since then, but I do think that the Rams can easily muster 13 wins this year, and it'll be great. And last but not least, I have the AFC West. Now, the AFC West, bottom of the division is the Raiders. The Raiders, they got Geno Smith. They got Pete Carroll, head coach. They got some Ashton Jeanty at running back. I still think Ashton Jeanty's going to have a monster year for the Raiders. As long as that O-line can block for him, I still think the Raiders, even though they're at the bottom of the division, I still think they get 7 wins. At least 7 or 8 wins. It's going to be a tight division. This is the toughest division in football, the AFC West. Up next, it's a tough decision, but I'm going to go Chargers in third. The Chargers, they went from 5-12 to 11-6 last year. They're a really good, tough opponent, rival for the Chiefs. The first game of the season is going to be in Brazil against the Chiefs, and it counts as their home game. So, tough luck, Chargers. But I feel like they're going to lose there, and they're going to get 10 wins this year. Chargers are probably going to get 10 wins. 10 or 11 wins. That's the crazy thing. They're going to get 11 wins and come third in the division. So, unless they lose some game by a trick last play Hail Mary or block field goal or something insane, I see them getting at least 10 or 11 wins this year. Next, we have the Denver Broncos. Denver Broncos are a 12-win team. A 12 or 13-win team. They are fantastic. Bo Nix will be amazing this year. I wouldn't be surprised if Bo Nix is in MVP category this season, or at least Offensive Player of the Year voting this season. I think the Broncos, they increased their defense a lot. They got a lot of good pieces now on their defense, with a couple coming from the 49ers and Dre Greenlaw and Talahenga Huvanga. I hope I said that right. But and they also just signed J.K. Dobbins, so I guess we'll just see what happens from there. But obviously, at the top of the division, I have the Kansas City Chiefs. No-brainer. They're finally getting Hollywood Brown, Rashee Rice, Xavier Worthy all together, healthy in the same room. You got Mahomes coming back with less hair. He'll be faster this year. Then you got Isaiah Pacheco, fully healthy. You got Kareem Hunt in the system, knows what he's doing. You got Travis Kelce. You got a lot of other good tight ends in that room. You got Noah Gray. And on defense, you got that really good ball hawk corner from Cal. You got a really good linebacker out of Oregon. You've got 2 new defensive linemen that can come in and rotate. I think George Karlaftis, FAU, I think they're up for a breakout year. FAU needs the breakout year. George Karlaftis doesn't necessarily need it, but I think he's going to have it just because of the production he put up in the playoffs. This team is going to win 15 games. The Chiefs are going to win 14 or 15 games, and they're going to have to win 14 or 15 games to win this division because the Broncos are going to be hot on their tail. Now, I still think that the Chiefs sweep their division opponents. If they lose one game, it's going to be to the Broncos in Denver. That is the only game I feel like they lose, unless they lose it just because they just sucked in that game. I feel like they're going to score a lot more points this year. They're going to put up a lot more points with the air raid type offense. this year. The Chiefs are bringing back the deep ball, and you better be looking out for it. All right. So next, I've got something special for you. I've got a little bit of some postseason awards here that I'm going to read from my handy dandy book. All right. So I'm going to go Defensive Player of the Year, Offensive Player of the Year, Defensive Rookie of the Year, Offensive Rookie of the Year, then MVP. Okay, so Defensive Player of the Year, I think it's going to be Jared Verse. Jared Verse had a fantastic rookie season last year for the Rams, and I think that he's going to be part of their key success to get them to the playoffs. Next, Offensive Player of the Year. It's either going to be Derrick Henry or Lamar Jackson, whoever impresses the most. Whoever rushes for more yards. It'll probably be Derrick Henry, but Lamar might also get it because Lamar's not going to get MVP, and I'll show you why here in a second. Defensive Rookie of the Year, Travis Hunter. I feel like Travis Hunter's going to have a fantastic defensive rookie year. He's just going to. He's going to put up like 4 picks, have a lot of PBUs, like 7 PBUs. He's going to be really good in coverage. He's super athletic. Watch out for that man to break out the interception record. Offensive Rookie of the Year, I think it's going to go with Ashton Jeanty. I think Ashton Jeanty will bell cow merchant himself like he did for his college team to get them to the playoffs. He's going to do that for the Raiders to try and will them to the playoffs. You know, kind of same scenario. They're only going to get like 7 wins, but all of them will be because of Ashton Jeanty, and I guarantee it, unless he gets injured or unless their O-line is dog water. Then I look like a fool. And lastly, MVP, it's going to be Patrick Mahomes. The last time the Chiefs lost the Super Bowl, Mahomes turned it right back around and had his second best season of his career and won MVP. I feel like that's going to happen again. History always tends to repeat itself, so this is going to be a fantastic year for the Kansas City Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes. With that being said, I got my NFC and AFC winners, and this was kind of tough. Obviously, my AFC champion is going to be the Kansas City Chiefs. The Kansas City Chiefs, like I already said, they're going to have all the pieces this year. They're going to be able to do it. NFC champion, I have the Detroit Lions. The Detroit Lions, as long as their defense stays healthy, Aiden Hutchinson comes back and plays as well as he did before he broke his leg. Yeah, the Lions are going to be good this year. Look out for the Detroit Lions. The Detroit Lions are going to be awesome. And we'll just see what happens from there. Then that's my Super Bowl matchup, and my Super Bowl champion is the Kansas City Chiefs. Come on, guys. Kansas City Chiefs, they're going to make it to their 4th Super Bowl in a row, and Mahomes is going to have his 4th ring. And, yeah, it will be a good one. I have the Chiefs winning by 3 points. And that is my 2025-2026 National Football League predictions for this upcoming season. I appreciate y'all for tuning in and watching this video. If you would, please like and subscribe. It'll help me out a lot. And go ahead and share this video with your friends and talk about how stupid of a predictor I am. Yeah, bye.